What's up, my dudes? We got Mobility Duo. Let's freaking go.
What's up?
So excited. Okay, first question is, how long have we known each other? That's the first question.
Ooh.
I think 3 years. I'm pretty sure that we met you at your snowboard camp during the
Oh,
like 2020.
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
been a
so
minute.
for anybody who doesn't know, we've been vibing for a long time now. Will you guys introduce yourselves? And then I'm going to ask a simple question of what got you into snowboarding? Because we all are here for snowboarding.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to go first?
Yeah, my name is Mark. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. Work primarily with snowboarders these days. What got me into snowboarding, I think, was my older brother. I've talked about that in the past, but like every younger brother, you want to be like your older bro. He was a big influence in my life. And I was always drawn to board sports. So I was skateboarding when I was younger. I grew up in Guam for a while, so I was around surf culture for a lot of that. And yeah, snowboarding was just a great transition.
Mm. My name is Sarah. I am a licensed massage therapist, personal trainer, and yoga instructor. And I primarily do yoga for snowboarders. And I found snowboarding through some buddies in high school. So I was homeschooled up until high school, and I didn't have like TV or internet or any of that. So I actually had no idea that snowboarding was a thing, even existed. And then senior year of high school, someone was like, you want to go on a snowboarding weekend with us? And I was like, what is that? But sure, I want to go. And so I bought $100 Maro snowboard off of, I know, Craigslist. And it came with boots, bindings, POS board, like didn't wax it, had no idea what I was doing. And I spent all weekend up at Timberline. Absolutely wrecked myself. But during that time, I figured out how to link turns on my own. And that dopamine hit of, oh my God, I get it. Like sparked something inside me that I've had a season pass ever since.
That's amazing. And it's so funny how snowboarders don't take lessons. It blows my mind, but somehow we figure it out. We get from the top of the mountain to the bottom. We make it happen. So pretty impressive. So then will you guys just dive into a little bit of why do you guys create? We're going to talk about your content like separately, but why do you guys create content? What's your mission for snowboarders in general?
Yeah. So our goal for snowboarders is to keep them on the hill as long as possible. Unfortunately, there's a kind of a trend in snowboarding where a lot of snowboarders switch to skiers and later in life because you don't have to sit down and it's easier to not have to clip in and clip out. And it's just, you don't have to do as much. You just get on the lift, you get off the lift and you ride down. So we see that sometimes, and we want to kind of try to prevent that. We want snowboarders to snowboard as long as possible. And so, i.e., keeping the strength and mobility to do so, lessen the injuries on the mountain by having the stamina to maintain your muscle endurance on the mountain so you don't get injured. So you last longer for the day, for the year, for the lifespan that you can on hill.
From your point of view, with all that you just said, what is the number one tip you could give somebody so that they can have the most sustainable and longest snowboard career outside of just don't crash?
That's such a good question, actually. I don't think anyone has ever asked us that.
That's a great
Let's
question.
go.
That's a really good
Let's
question. I'll give mine and then Mark can give his because he's the doctor of physical therapy. So he probably has a better insight than me. But I would say it's consistency in your daily routine. So not only, not getting injured on the mountain, but building a life that you can sustain at home that makes you a better human being, makes you just be able to last longer on the mountain. So I guess maintaining endurance is what I see.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm gonna say two things. One is don't stop moving.
Ooh.
See it all the time. You get the high school athlete, the young 20-year-old that was maybe an athlete, and they stop from life events that could be work, kids.
So good.
They just are sedentary in general. Going back into a sport doesn't have to be snowboarding. Their brain is still young, but their bodies are not. And I see that all the time. They get injured. They just have a horrible time. They don't want to continue that. So that's my biggest thing is don't stop moving. The second thing is listen to your body. And I don't think people listen to their intuition of their bodies enough. And that's a skill And I really think it's an internal brain that people don't listen to. So if you are not feeling 100%, it's okay to miss a day. You know, you don't have to push yourself that day. I know it's like going against a lot of people's like mindset, but like if you're feeling sick or you're just feeling not the best, like 100, it's okay. And I think not enough people really listen or are in tune with their body and how it works.
Such a good one.
I think that's super important, but I'm definitely the exact opposite. Like I've snowboarded 180 days in a row.
Yep.
And there's days where you don't feel good, but there's days where I think for me, and I'm not contradicting you at all, for my mindset was like, well, I might just go ride for an hour and then go home and be okay with that. Because my goal is to snowboard every day, or what Mark was saying is move every day. So like if I just get out of my house, I feel accomplished by just moving and grooving. So now I might go snowboard, but there's times where I adjust my style of riding where I just go do a couple turns and that's my day, but I got out of the house. I didn't stop moving, but I'm also listening to my body where it's like, today I'm not feeling good. That's okay. I got out of the house. Or there's days where I just feel fantastic and I'm going to send it. And then there's so many things have to align with that because you could feel good and it's a terrible, low light, crappy, icy, gnarly day, kind of a bummer, or it's bluebird.
Yep.
And you ain't feeling it, which is like happens like unfortunately too often, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the concept called a good day hangover?
No.
Imagine you had the absolute most incredible pow day, fantastic, landing every trick you've ever tried. Yeah. The next day, you're trash.
Okay, that makes sense. Endorphins are flowing, dopamine, you're just drained.
You're cooked. You're absolutely cooked. It's such a bummer. I've definitely had those days. So yeah, I definitely like that idea of the sustainability. As far as from your experiences, what is the most common injury that you guys feel could be prevented outside of the gym? And yeah, what's the biggest injury you could? Yeah, that one. That's the question.
Yeah, so statistically, upper extremity injuries are by far the highest within snowboarding. It's that foosh mechanism falling on an outstretched hand. You know, that force. Yep, force is going through the wrist, elbow, shoulder, clavicle. You see it all too often. Broken clavicle, specifically with snowboarders. As far as the most preventative injury, I would say that's a great question. Gosh, I would probably say it's not necessarily an exercise, but learning how to fall. And it's really hard to do that, especially when it happens in a blink of an eye. But learning how to fall well, as weird as that sounds, and then probably just strengthening our upper extremities in general, whether that be, you know, your shoulders, whether that be your chest, upper back, or even core, you could incorporate that as well. But that's a tough question to answer just because like it's so broad. There's so many things you could focus on, but yeah, just based on the stats.
I'd like to add that going back to what I said earlier about muscle endurance and being able to like maintain yourself on the mountain, so many injuries happen when you're fatigued or at the end of the day, you just want to do one more because you're feeling so good, but your muscles are shot, you're tired. And so being able to train to have that muscle endurance in your lower half so you don't eat it as much, which also saves your upper half.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
One of my biggest pet peeves, and I used to work park crew at Vail, and it would be park closes at 3:30. Family just been riding all day from 9 o'clock with their 17 kids, and they're tired, and they're showing up at the park at 3:29, and they're going to go hit the park for the first time. The biggest thing, the two biggest things that are such a struggle with that is you're flipping tired, exactly what Sarah's saying, but then your condition / lighting is the worst that it's going to be. And now we're going to have to go be at the most coordinated and responsive and explosive thing we're going to do all day. And now we're in the park and now we're getting broke off because of that. So I'm a massive fan. I get to the mountain at 8 o'clock. I hang out, talk some trash with my friends. We have a good time. And we're on the mountain by 9 o'clock and we ride till 12, 1, 2 o'clock. But my opinion, it's the best time because I'm feeling the best. The conditions are really good, especially in the park. It's all groomed and freshed and fire. And then you get a good park. And then by the time, like, I'm not that person who's going to show up at 1 o'clock and go snowboard. Like, I'm done by then. So it's like, it blows my mind that that's even a thing. But it's like, yeah, making appropriate decisions for how am I feeling? Go to the park early. Don't go to the park super late. And granted, early might be like a little firm. I would rather take firm, predictable conditions any day.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and it comes back to our point earlier, right? Like listen to your body, and that like you're both right, like 100% correct. Like do it when you're at your prime, mentally and physically. Um, and then yeah, like ultimately listen to your body. Like, how are you feeling? Is this the time where you should be trying something new on a hard piece of steel or aluminum? Like look at the terrain. Like there's so many factors involved, but yeah, I agree 100%.
Going back into a little bit of your own snowboarding. So what is your guys' favorite style of snowboarding? Cliffs, POW, groomers, park, carving. What are you guys into? And then how do you complement your riding style outside of snowboarding? And then it's going to lead into another kind of want to have a little debate about how working out, a style of working out. So Sarah, you're first. What do we got?
Okay, cool. So we used to be park rats because again, we were at Timberline for like 9 years, and at Timberline, it's all there really is park. It's not steep and deep or anything. And then we recently moved to Bachelor in the last 3 years. And ever since moving to Bachelor's, we have become tree people. Hardcore.
Oh.
And yes. So we had no idea, but Bachelor has so many amazing tree runs that people just don't know about. So even on a busy day, if you're taking groomers or whatever, like you'll go in the trees and nobody's there. And what's awesome is the trees are basically like parks because there's features everywhere. So it's more like natural park. Mark and I have always been big jumpers. We're not really into jibbing as much. And so like being able to hit natural features that way is really fun. So that's the kind of snowboarding we like to do. We love powder, obviously, but we'll do anything. Personally, I ride a full camber twin. And so, yeah, that's like my favorite board ever. If I have to break out my powder board because it's too deep, I'm like, oh, fine. But like, I would prefer to stick with my twin. Yeah, that being said, training styles, I'm going to go back to muscle endurance. Also a lot of single leg. I'm huge on single leg work because you're able to discover your discrepancies from side to side. So which leg is stronger, which leg is weaker. For me, that helps a ton with learning switch. So I love switch riding, and especially, that's why I love twins. And so my left leg is very strong because I'm a regular rider. And so I have to really work on strengthening my right side, single leg work, to be able to get the strength on that side for when I go goofy. That way I can have that confidence in that knee, that leg, the quads, the hamstrings, everything like that. So endurance and single leg strengthening.
Single leg. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you lived in Oregon for a while. Like the trees out here are so different from Colorado. I saw, they're just like, they're wide and open and there you can find features. So I think my riding has changed a lot since being at Timberline for a long time. And I've never been a fantastic park rider, but like I've enjoyed it. But it's definitely switched over to Mount Bachelor is famous for surfy style culture.
Very surfy.
A lot of side country. You can access it 360 degrees, and I've really transitioned a lot into backcountry stuff as well. I've yet to do something crazy, but I love a good old backcountry tour day, just earning your turns. And I love that style and getting that endurance up. But yeah, I would say side country, all mountain, finding features in the trees, little humps here and there is definitely like our favorite thing to do these days. We'll hit the park occasionally, but it's not like our go-to anymore. I have nothing to prove. I'm almost 36 years old. So I'm not jibbing as much anymore, if any. I'll go off like the medium jumps and stuff. And
you board slide some rails.
I don't know.
Sunday.
You do.
Yeah,
Don't be modest.
It's really like transition to like that side backcountry, which I really enjoy now these days. And kind of going back to what you were saying, like 180 days is insane. But these days I'm willing to kind of choose my days wisely to really make the most of it versus just trying to get as many as I can in a year. And then, in regards to my training style, I've always been a fan of like hit based. I think I'm big on efficiency. So I don't have a ton of time to work out. I used to be a gym rat. I could spend 4 hours at a gym, but now I want to keep that under 45 minutes. I want to go in, take as little rest as I can, get as much as I can done, and then be out and get on with my day. And then incorporate some aerobic days and other things in that realm. But I'm huge on kind of the hit based style, but we can dive into other things later. But yeah.
I'm going to go into like a little bit of Bachelor. I used to compete, and the first time I ever went there, me and my dad drove from Colorado for like 24 hours to get to Bachelor. And it was like crazy snowstorms and stuff. And I was like, had my permit at that time. And I was driving in a snowstorm, and then the wind hit me and like blew me across the road. And my dad's like, yeah, we're done. I'll switch back. So and then going back into that with Bachelor, like you said, there's so many like wind lips and jibs and gaps and fun stuff. There's this random, I don't know where it is, but there's like a catwalk and people build a little jump over it and you just freaking send it. And it's like, it's such a fun, playful mountain. And then the trees, like you said, you can go Mach 30 through the trees because they're 12 feet apart.
Yeah,
Colorado,
totally. Exactly.
Like trying to like duck and hide and dip and dodge through the trees because sometimes they're super, super tight. And so, yeah, Bachelor is like an incredible place. If you guys ever get a chance, the viewers, go check out Mount Bachelor. It is incredible. I would probably rode there about 20 days before I ever saw the mountain because it's always snowing and sopping. And I was like, oh, this mountain's beautiful. So be ready for like a good time. So I definitely enjoyed that. How much, let's just speak specifically for park and then we'll go non-park.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big fan of explosive movements for park. And I wanted to have a statement and then you can agree, disagree, and or elaborate is as a park rider, it's a very explosive movement. But it's yet as you become a more skilled and experienced snowboarder, you become super efficient. You're actually like super efficient, kind of lazy because I might go hit a 3 jump line. So it's like explosive movement, stand there, explosive movement, stand there, and then go take a rest. And then I'm going to go sit on a chairlift every 5-10 minutes. So I'm a big fan of explosive movements for park. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Can I say?
Go for it.
Okay,
Yes.
I would agree, but I would also say it has as much or maybe even more value in, I don't know the correct term, but like de-explosive, if that makes sense. Like not only launching, but actually the catching. So I would put more emphasis on the catching. Like you said, you become so efficient of a rider that you know how to control your board enough to pop it without putting that much energy into it, but catching it and having your ankles, knees, and hips be able to absorb that landing, not only those joints, but those muscles surrounding the joints. I think that's more important. So yes, explosive training is huge, but I think it's the learning how to catch yourself into it.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say, I definitely agree. And like, it also comes back to your style of riding. Like I personally don't like being super efficient off of a jump. I want to explode and go as big as possible. But then to Sarah's point, being able to handle the impact to be able to do that, handle the impact to be able to go send it beforehand. But I think the biggest struggle people face is just bad technical skill on a snowboard, that they're open, they're twisted, and yeah, they are super strong in the gym, but they can't actually implement gym into snowboarding. How, slight tangent, how have you tried to bridge that gap from coming from a technical snowboard coach instructor? You could be as strong as you want. Your body position is pretty trash on the snowboarding. It's going to hinder you significantly more than you not going to the gym. So have you guys implemented any of that technical aspect of snowboard coaching or trying to translate definitive skills from the gym into snowboarding? Have you guys experimented with that?
It's a great question. So first I'll say we are not snowboard coaches. I'm going to become a snowboard coach this year.
No way. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Tell me more. Are you going to become an instructor or what?
Sorry, say that again.
Are you going to become an instructor or what are you doing?
Yeah.
Let's go. It's incredible.
Thank you.
So you're going to teach or you're going to get certified or both?
Both.
Yes. Oh my God. For anybody who's listening, becoming an instructor is one of the best things you could ever do if you're riding outside of hiring a snowboard coach. You want to become a better snowboarder, hire a coach, or if you're an adult, literally become an instructor will change your freaking life. But
I love hearing that. Yeah.
I'm so excited for you. You have no idea how sick that is.
Thank you, man. Yeah. So that for that exact reason, right, is like there's that technical portion. So to go back, I am going to become a snowboard instructor. I'm not currently one, but we have nearly 30 years together of experience snowboarding, but we didn't get any technical training to do that. So to answer your question, yes, we can teach you and give you those skills from the body mechanics, from the body strength, mobility, flexibility. But at the end of the day, unless you're getting those reps in, unless you're getting the correct teaching from an expert like yourself, like it doesn't matter how well you train. Yeah, I can keep you probably riding longer, maybe injury free longer. But in regards to translating that into the technical side, that's beyond me. And that's going to take
at the moment.
Well, not even
At
that.
the moment.
Even if I were to train the most skilled snowboarder in the world, like it's up to them to be able to translate that onto the snow and be able to, know like the body mechanics and the skills involved. But like I can only do so much for them off the mountain. Yes, it's going to be a lot easier, 100% easier teaching a skilled athlete, regardless if you're an athlete, you're an athlete. But yeah, I think there's definitely a gray line there that I accept as a health professional. But I also think from our experience as snowboarders for so long, we've been really able to understand the nuances and be able to translate to a degree how these things benefit snowboarders in general.
Yeah. And we also refer back to people that we know and trust. Like we send people your way. We have a friend here who's really well known in the coaching community, and we ask him questions like, hey, how would this work for this movement? But we have different demographics. Like the demographics of people that we see versus the ones that you see are very different. So you have to imagine the people coming to use our programs or our workouts or the stuff that we put out there for off mountain training are ones who probably go up a couple times a year. Maybe they used to go up all the time, but now, like Mark said, they just don't move their bodies anymore. So they need to get back into it and just generally have gotten out of shape, really. Like that's what it comes down to. And so a lot of our training is to be able to handle the efforts on the mountain. We don't do a lot of like, if you want to do a board slide, you have to do exactly this. Like we don't push that a lot because like Mark said, we're not snowboard coaches and that is better suited for other people. We're more so like, hey, let's get you able.
We're experts in the body and how it works and the biomechanics behind that. And we've always been transparent about that, in regards to reaching out to experts that are better suited for on the snow technique. But that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this year, not only to improve my own snowboarding, the technical side of it, because I didn't have that. I learned from my brother and like, he didn't care about me. Like he just said, go do it. But like be able to translate and teach our viewers, the people who are following us, and get a better understanding of how this all works and bring it all together.
And that's why I think it's so cool as a collaborative effort between you and I is, can you become a more technical or a more technically proficient snowboarder? That's going to really help if you go in the gym. But the gym is also going to help you become a more technical snowboarder because your body now has the full range of motion, has the core strength to be able to do certain rotational movements, and you have improved your balance. So I definitely think that they complement each other. And sometimes it's really hard if you are so far on one side of the scale versus the other. And so what mobility brings to the table, if you guys don't know, all good. You're living under a rock or a snowflake, whatever it is, but check out their Instagram. All this stuff is going to be linked down below, but they're freaking amazing at just understanding the body specifically for snowboarding and injury prevention and all that stuff. So, but I really love the fact that you guys are transparent about what your niche is. And I think going into like some of the content stuff, I think is a pretty awesome segue. Going into the content, to me, it's helped a lot of the haters because you're not making false claims. You're also just providing an amazing service to the people that you're really niching down. Can you guys dive into why the heck did you started creating content? And what is your current content challenges or new goals? Mark may have told me a little something, but I want you guys, Mark, to tell everybody about it.
What was it? Something.
What did I say?
You guys are like doing YouTube. You guys are now
Oh, okay,
YouTubers and
got
like
you, got
diving in.
you.
You guys have been doing
Um,
YouTube a long time, but like going full on YouTube or going more into YouTube, I think is really cool.
Yeah. So we're predominantly on Instagram, and actually, how it started was during the pandemic. Mark just graduated from his doctorates program, and then I was all service-based careers. So licensed massage therapist, personal trainer, yoga instructor were non-essential jobs during the pandemic. So basically, we were sitting ducks because just graduated, have no jobs. And so we moved back in with Mark's parents, and we're just both the kind of people that don't like sitting still, and we've always wanted to have our own business. So we were like, okay, the world is going online. How do we figure out how to go online? And so I was like, well, people are doing crazy things on social media. Let's start there. And we started doing like what we love. Like we love rock climbing, snowboarding, soccer, whatever, mountain biking. And so we started doing things for kind of everything. And then people were like, more snowboarding. And so we're like, okay, like we need to just be snowboard like specific with our training. And then from there, it just kind of took off. The winter came and we exploded, and it was kind of crazy to navigate because neither of us knew what we were doing. Still don't. And so that was all on Instagram. So in a 3-year time, we've grown to almost 200,000 followers on Instagram, which is
Congratulations.
yeah, so crazy. Thank you. But now, like you mentioned, we are kind of not more focused, but we are focusing on YouTube as well, which we've never done in the past.
YouTube is a beast.
Yeah, Mark's the head person on that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But, yeah, no, we've always kind of had some small angle towards YouTube, but we've never dove in. I'm definitely taking this year more seriously just because I see the potential, and it is like, I would argue to say YouTube, Instagram are the top dogs right now in regards to social media content. That may not be the case in a couple of years because who can predict that? Obviously, TikTok is always there. But YouTube is a whole different beast, in regards to content style and community. And so just like looking at the community you've built, Tommie, like I have the utmost respect for what you've done and are doing, because it is not easy. It is, for those of you who do not make content, like it is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And you do not see the work that goes into the quality of content like Tommie is making. So mad respect, my friend.
There's this one time I had this video where I wanted to simulate getting a concussion. I spent 26 hours editing the first 1 minute long
Oh my gosh.
And it's funny because like I put 26 hours in and somebody watches it and they're like, yeah, cool. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, they don't understand how much goes into it. And I ended up staying up till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, had to go to work at 7. And then I was trying to get the video done and posted at 5 o'clock that day. So I couldn't do it during the day. So at midnight, I was sitting at this exact spot and I had to make a decision. Do I edit or do I not? So I just grabbed a Red Bull and just freaking sent it. But like people don't know that story behind the scenes because it's 26 hours. So you guys are popping off on Instagram. How and what are you doing that's providing value for your following that is different going onto YouTube? So like why do people want to go to YouTube, or what are you providing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think YouTube, they get a deeper look into our personalities and who we are and our expertise. It's hard for me because my voice can be really monotone because I usually have like one level. Yeah, so it's hard. Like YouTube, people have short attention spans. You really have to be on and create quick edits and transitions, and I'm just not that guy. And it's taken time, and you'll see it if you go back to our first videos. And anyways,
I've watched some of your older videos on YouTube.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
But it's part of learning.
It's part of learning. But yeah, in regards to YouTube, we're really trying to dive into more of the education side, into, because Instagram is so short and sweet, which is fine. That's its own beast in itself. YouTube, you can really get into the nitty-gritty, the personality of us. You can really dive into specific type of content. And then we also have vlog style content that we started last year, of us on the mountain, and and that again should get better. But there's definitely like those videos of just snow shaking GoPro, and it's like, God, I thank you forever watch this. This is so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark's actually been really good. So his two types of videos that he puts out a week are things like usually they're things that people request. So someone has requested like us to do a deep dive into how we set up the cold plunge because Mark bought a refrigerator, like a refrigerator off of Facebook Marketplace
Let's
and
go.
completely has transformed it. Yeah. And it works like amazing. And so people have asked for like a breakdown of that. So that's coming. And then someone asked about perfect stance for knees. And so he kind of goes into the science behind knees and like, like less about snowboarding and more about like, let's actually understand knees first.
Yeah.
And then translate that into snowboarding. And then, so like he gets requests like that. So he has a lot of breakdown videos, but then at the moment, he's also doing our program Shred 3.0. He's doing it himself. And he's vlogging his experience doing that program starting. So he has like before and after shots of like, okay, this is how we started. This is what I'm doing throughout it. So on. And so he's in the process of that right now. So 2 videos, like how-tos and vlogs.
And I love the fact that YouTube, you get to hang out with somebody for 10 to 20 minutes, right? So then you can deep dive into, for me, it would be like how to carve in 5 steps. Well, it isn't just done. It's let's elaborate on the body positions and the timing and the coordination of step 1, and then repeat that 2, 3, 4, and 5. So then I feel like you can get a lot more impact on somebody snowboarding because you can go into more in-depth information. And again, on Instagram, TikTok, or even YouTube Shorts, it's so quick and it's got to be catchy and it's swipe. And then I feel like people just forget about what that video was even 2-3 videos ago. And so you had something that was extremely impactful, like it changed their life. They've already forgot about it. So I think going into the YouTube concept is a lot different because you're committed to 15 minutes, or in theory, hopefully they stay for 15 minutes, but you're still only going to retain 5% of the information anyways. But hopefully that nugget is more impactful and you can actually go somewhere. And then, like you said, going into knee stuff, extremely valuable. Here to stands for on knees. That is an incredible idea. And having the time to actually do that, I think it's cool. And as a content creator, I like diversifying my content because my YouTube channel got hacked this year. I lost thousands of dollars.
Oh, that's right.
And then it's like, well, if I was, it is what it is. You live and learn, right? So then you put all your eggs in one basket and then that basket's gone. And what do? Like you can't help people anymore. So I love the idea of just diversifying TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, different. And, and then, because at the end of the day, if we can help people, that's what matters most. But it could just be done in an instant as far as like, you don't have control of these platforms and algorithms and stuff, and things could happen. So don't get hacked. It's not sick. Don't do that.
Yeah, man. That's so scary. I think about that stuff a lot, but it is super scary. It's very relevant and real. So I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I remember when that happened, and man, it stinks.
Yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't as terrifying as I expected because I felt that at least I could still connect with my audience on Instagram and TikTok. So I was like, crap, like account's hacked. That sucks. It's terrible. I'm losing money. It's not at the end of the world because I can still communicate with people. And then another YouTube channel with 15 million subscribers got the exact same hack I did. So I was like, okay, well, I know I'm an idiot, but it happens. I got baited so hard without going so far into it. Just be aware. There was this video game called Sons of the Forest, and you download it and then you get to play this game. So I went on YouTube and searched, is this a real thing? And it was. And it's not out yet. So they're paying creators to go check out this game to go see if it's something cool. I play a lot of video games. And when you play on PC, you download an app to download the video game. That's not abnormal. What they did is their email address, Sons of the Forest, the O was a 0. So they made a big email address, all capitals, and the S0N is what I didn't catch. Everything else was exactly scripted or set up to be exactly what a deal would be. Because I've done many brand deals that are exactly like that. So just be aware. It's everything that looks good and it's gnarly. So diversifying the content just keeps you allows you to help more people. And
I think that's a good segue in regards to like, I think as you become, and I hate to use this word, a content creator, but in real, like, yeah, we are at the end of the day. I think it's really easy to get lost in the sauce as in regards to like, oh, I got how many followers today, or I
Mm-hmm.
lost this many followers, and you really becomes part of your identity.
Yep.
But I think ultimately we always need to come back to the fact that, we need to keep that mindset of like, what are you creating that's going to benefit the person that's spending their time watching your content
Yeah.
versus, oh, great, I just gained 100 followers today. And it's really hard to make that shift and
Yeah.
to maintain that shift. But if you can, we've always been able to create the best content and create the best community because of that.
Yeah. I will say, I've always said this when people message us and they're like, oh my gosh, X, Y, and Z that you did helped us so much because of
Mm.
X, Y, and Z. I always say, like, that is the paycheck, because
Mhm.
being on a faceless, like, we don't see people, we don't talk to people, we just keep creating this stuff and putting it out there. So we don't always know that it's actually helping. And then when people comment or they connect with us and they're like, hey, this helped, it's like, oh my God, it helped. Like, you just get like,
Validation.
yeah, it's like, this is actually helping people. And just, I always say that's the paycheck every time.
I love that you mentioned that, because this summer I met a random lifty and she's like, I watch your content all the time. And I was like, oh, no way. She's like, I love your TikTok videos. And then I was like, felt bad in transparency. I don't post on TikTok much. I don't enjoy the platform. I don't resonate with it. So it's not on the forefront of my mind to put content out there.
Yeah.
But then it came to this realization that there's an actual human behind that platform that could benefit from the content. And so then I started posting on TikTok because of this girl. Believe her name was Emma, because Emma was like, I love your content. And when I don't post on that platform, I'm not helping that subset of snowboarding. And so it was that paycheck. It was that realization of there's people out there. And again, like, I've done this now for many years where the vanity metrics, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, if a video pops off or it doesn't pop off, I don't care, because as long as that video helps somebody, then that really helps me at the end of the day create the content. Yeah, somebody might absolutely hate whatever content I put out there for this specific thing, but somebody that's going to change their life. And that's where like, I don't kind of a segue into like, I don't do board reviews, because what if I said that board was trash, but that kept you in snowboarding? What if I said this board's amazing, you have to ride it, you spent $600 of your hard-earned money and you hate it, now you don't want to go snowboard? There's too much pressure on me to give you the right advice on gear that it's hard for me to give you advice on gear, because I don't want to be that roadblock that made you hate snowboarding.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think
good job, Emma.
Yeah, good job, Emma.
Let's go.
It's also important to remember that you can't get lost in the sauce of like the comments, like Mark said too. Like, I took a screenshot because this was so funny to me. There was a workout thing that we did, and someone was like, this is absolute garbage. Like, you don't need to work out to snowboard. These posts are worthless. And literally the next comment next to it was, this helped me so much. I loved it. Thank you. And I'm like, this is so funny to me, because people can have their opinions, like, this sucks, whatever. But then that doesn't mean that that's true. And then say, like, someone can say this helped me. Like, there's just so many people in this world that, like, how can you say that this is overall beneficial or not? Like, this might not be beneficial for you. Okay, move on. Or this might be beneficial for this other person. And so there's such a diversity of input that comes in with content creation. And it's, I think, important to take all of it with a grain of salt. You know, when people are like, I love you, you guys are awesome, you know, it's important to not like, I'm awesome, right. You know, like, it's important to become that. And then when people are like, I hate you, this sucks, it's important to not take that in either. So like, you kind of have to have a sense of like, I'm just going to do what I know and try to help people along the way. Some it'll work for and some it won't.
And so what would be your guys' advice on somebody who may want to be a content creator or a professional snowboarder, or just to go for it? What is maybe some advice, and what allowed you guys to go for it? I've talked about mine a little bit, but what about you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I can speak in regards to pursuing social media or even pursuing a healthcare career. I think that adversity that you go through, and you will go through it, regardless if that's a career or if that's content creation. I think experiencing that adversity and figuring out and problem solving the solution is the best lesson that you can learn. And the fact that like you just can't stop. I think there's so many people, and we've talked to you like early on, like when we were first starting, like again, I'm gonna put you on a pedestal, Tommie. You really helped us out. Like you gave us so much great information. You like hyped us up. You blasted out like who we were and took us to your camp. And you've been so helpful in that realm. But like, one, you can't do this by yourself. And two, that adversity that you will go through, because you'll have down times or things that go wrong. You'll get hacked. It's like, what do you do to problem solve to get you through this situation? Because at the end of that, you can look back upon it and you can always draw a lesson from that. You can always find opportunity from adversity. And I think that's the biggest thing that we've learned.
Yeah. Personally, I would say never stop being a student, because the second you think you know it all is the second you stop learning.
Yep.
And like, we did not know, like we've tried to stay humble through this whole experience, and we didn't really know social media before this. And so I took classes from Brock Johnson, and I've joined forums and discussions, and you led us to that one guy on YouTube. What's his name? Sean something.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah. I forget.
Yeah, and like just like
Panel
people who can. Yep.
Yeah.
People who can teach you like how to better yourselves on these platforms to better your business. And so like just learning that and not being afraid to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And with snowboarding, we're never going to claim that we're snowboard coaches or that we would know what we're talking about when it comes to X, Y, and Z tricks. So we reach out to people who do know, and we try to better ourselves to better our community.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that made the biggest impact on my content was having the courage to put it out there. Because I've been coaching at that point for 15 years, and like I've coached a lot of kids gone from like 360s to double backflips and 1080s, and I had all this like experience, but I would never have the courage to publicly show that I was an authoritative figure and that I have experience and that I have some information to put out there that could benefit people. Now, I'm not always 100% right, and I believe in what I'm saying, and I have a lot of experience, but at the end of the day, if I'm not pressing record and I'm not publishing it, then I can't help anyone. So like whether you're a professional athlete or medical field or content, you got to have the courage. And it's a terrifying thing because people are judging you. Oh my God, you're bald. Yeah. What can I do about it? I can hide from it or own it. And you're going to make fun of me. It's like that I don't care, but I'm going to have the courage to put information out there because it helps more people than it doesn't really, it helps more people than anything. But then you get haters. And one thing I do, and if you're watching and if you've hated on me, I restrict comments. You want to talk some smack, tell me I'm trash, fine. I'll either block you because my biggest pet peeve, and this is getting a little personal, is you're going to talk crap and smack, but then you're going to go use my content tomorrow and benefit yourself. Like, I don't find that acceptable. That's not cool. Or you're talking smack, or you're just like, maybe like trying to ruffle some feathers. I might restrict your account. And then if you say anything, no one sees it. So then you don't get the joy out of like that anyways. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like, I want my platform to be extremely supportive, positive environment so people can be stoked and progress their snowboarding and be part of something that is amazing. And everybody should be included. Everybody should be involved, and you can have your opinions. But at the same time, I want this to be a positive place to be. And if you're working on your very first box, congratulations. Like, that's incredible. If you're working on a double backflip, just as excited about it. Like, it shouldn't be more or less. It's the same. It's freaking exciting.
Yeah. And I think that's going to create longevity in the sport, right? Like exactly what you're saying. It's that positivity. It's the encouragement. It's bringing in new riders that maybe don't have the confidence. Because, this is it's an expensive sport. It's a hard sport to get into. It's challenging and it intimidates a lot of people. And by bringing that negativity or making fun of others who maybe aren't as good as you, like, it's not helping anything. And if anything, you're killing the sport. So like, go back to your cave. But yeah, I agree 100%.
There's a artist named Connor Price.
Oh my God, he's amazing. He spins the globe somewhere, I swear.
Dude, I love him so much. But he has a song called EGOT. And one of the lyrics is, I don't know anybody who's winning that has the time to leave negative comments. And so And I love that because every time someone leaves negative comments, I'm like, oh, something's going on in your life. That sucks. Like it has nothing to do with actually us. And that's something that we have to remind ourselves a lot. And I also think like, man, if you're the type of person who's going to bring other snowboarders down online, are you the type of person who is going to be out on the mountain sharing hate? Like, what are you spreading? Spreading hate, or are you spreading stoke? Because if you're spreading stoke, like that's the kind of snowboarder you want to be around. But if you're just out there, like, I don't know, being a dick, no one wants to hang out with you.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, my content is not for everyone. But one thing that I've tried, this have stayed true to, is holding a high level for my riding. As a coach, if I'm doing a Zeechy sloppy board slide and saying this is the standard, that's unacceptable because that's hurting snowboarding. And then people are thinking that's the standard. And as a influencer or whatever you want to call it, as a coach, it's like I need to set the appropriate bar. And I feel like that's helped me stay away from a lot of the hate. And then some of the hate is just the other hate that I get is like, I might do a YouTube or an Instagram post on a frontside 180 and get like, 100,000 views. And it's like, yeah, but that's understanding the audience that's relevant. It's going to get blown up more than something that's a quad that's unobtainable. It's just different. So it's like some of the hate is interesting, but I also think like social media is like an amazing thing. And a lot of people have such negative things to say about social media. And I don't feel that way at all. Social media is what you make it. And I love social media because it's helping people. And that's the kind of content that I want. And that's obviously why I resonate with you all, because you're in the same boat and you're wanting to help the snowboard community. And I love your tagline. And if I'm wrong, fight me. It's like, you want to see people snowboarding till they're 70. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so like,
that's right.
I'm like 35, 34 years old. That's a whole nother lifetime of snowboarding. And that's like so special, like keeping people in the industry. And that's like such a big push for me to create content, is to keep people excited about snowboarding. And I love that you guys can we complement each other. Like, go be better at the gym or be better at snowboarding. Like, well, let's just help snowboarding in general.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely.
That's the beautiful thing about this sport, right? It's like, it's so young, and these riders are now getting to that age where you're seeing generational snowboarders. And this, like, the realms that we're in are becoming more relevant because of that. And it's growing and it's awesome. And yeah, it's exciting to see where it goes.
Now I am going to interrupt. It is almost time to end this thing. So before we go, please let us know where we can find you and what products or services do you guys offer that is going to help elevate somebody's snowboarding or snowboard performance or snowboard prevention, injury prevention. What do you got? Send it.
Yeah, so our mobility duo on almost all platforms, all the ones that we have anyways. So Instagram, YouTube, we do have TikTok, but like you said, I am so horrible at that platform. It's there, and I put on it every once in a while, but it's not as consistent as everything else. But yeah, mobility duo across the board. And if you really want to dive into what we offer, go to mobilityduo.com. That has our 12-week training program, our Snowgo program, which is yoga for snowboarders. And so that's a monthly subscription that people get access to 3 live videos a week. 2 are going to be yoga classes, and 1 is going to be at home, like 20-minute training classes. And those are all recorded and saved to a database that everyone has access to. And so you can look up like 15-minute flow for whiplash, stuff that's very specific for snowboarding.
Cool.
That's just an example. So that's our Snoga membership. We also have other things, like we just put out a concussion guide.
Yeah, if you have experienced a concussion, and I'm assuming most of us have, this class is incredible. It really there's 8 different classes, dives into the nuances, the foundational aspects of what a concussion is. There are like 20 plus exercises that you can utilize if you're having, vestibular issues, balance issues, anything like that. And it's really amazing information. We partnered with Save a Brain. Yeah. So
yeah, and Mark's not the one who teaches those. We actually have a good buddy who is also a doctor of physical therapy who's leading the realm of vestibular PT. Is that how you say it?
specialty, yeah.
Specialty. And so he knows everything about the brain. Not everything. No one knows everything. But like he's the one who like teaches all those classes. It's incredible the knowledge that Dr. Alec Angeli has. It's amazing. So we have that concussion course. And then we have a knee guide that's an ebook. There's a couple of things out there. So if you're ever curious or if you would like to see something in the future, we always love bettering ourselves and putting out content that you guys are craving. And so yeah, mobilityduo.com. And if it's not there, let us know because we'll make it.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Definitely check out their stuff. It's all going to be linked down below. You're amazing. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Let's go.
Thanks for having
Awesome.
us.
Thanks, Tommie.
How much time do you have? I got a random question off air. I'm going to stop recording.